This was the best Bleach chapter I have seen in months. This was a really, really good chapter, honestly. The actual dialogue in this chapter was dialogue heavy. Kubo, man, keep to these chapters. This was a good chapter. It really was. We had really solid progression and pacing in this chapter, which was good. It really was. This chapter all around was a really good chapter. It had different moments, funny moments, comedy, and at the same time, it kept to a serious level to where we saw really good progression. And at the same time, we get to see some familiar faces that everybody's probably super hyped up and freaking pumped up from this chapter. Yoruichi is finally back. Oh my god, she's one of my favorite characters. And the best way to introduce her in this chapter is that freaking Yuri fan service of her hand being between Orihime's breast. I'm like, what the fuck? But it was so good. That was a really good chapter in that moment. And getting to see how we had Orihime trying to hit on Ichigo, and at the same time, Ichigo was almost hitting on her. It was a really good scene, and I definitely had some good laughs because I definitely shipped those two characters together. Overall, the chapter really progressed well because we find out the main plan that Uruhara is trying to do now. He wants to make another canon like we saw in the original Soul Society arc at the beginning of Bleach and launch them up into the Spirit King's palace. Right now, that is really cool, and I like how they're trying to bring back these old aspects like this nostalgia we had in the past with Bleach, and I'm glad Kubo's doing something like this because we can definitely see that he's getting closer and closer to wrapping up this series if he's bringing in these type of things like nostalgia, for instance, with this, canon to launch him up into the sky. Now, besides that entire factor of that dialogue and progression, getting to see these characters back again, we had another moment in this episode where we get to see another messed up comedy scene. It could be the translations, but we see a scene to where we find out that Bombi is a zombie. She cannot die, and we have the entire trap girl, or trap boy, turned her into a zombie, and we find out that she's like, oh, when I made her into a zombie, it made me so wet. And then you had another person say, oh no, don't you mean it got you hard? And her facial reaction, oh my god, it was so great. It was so good. The way she looked so pissed, or he looked so pissed. It's funny. I love that. I love the translations. Keep doing that because it's fucking hilarious the way they're just written there, because, I mean, you would never expect something like this in recent chapters of Bleach, especially with a trap, and let alone getting to see, like, this sexual humor. Now, the main thing that happens at the end of this chapter that was really cool was we get to see our favorite mad scientist finally fucking back, and he has a new freaking form. Like, it looks really freaking weird. Like, really, really weird. I mean, it looks creepy weird, like he's fused with a fucking monster, but I love getting to see our favorite mad scientist Shinigami finally back, because he's one of my favorite characters in this series, and getting to see him back now, I'm probably going to be kicking some fucking ass. It's going to be interesting. And when he has his eyes set on a target to where he wants to say, oh, that's an interesting ability and all that, like turning people into zombies, we know he's going to have some extreme torture in the future. Overall, very good chapter. I'm happy with this chapter. The art quality was very consistent. And there's one page I think that the art quality wasn't that good. It was when Orihime's face got a close-up shot when she was embarrassed. But besides that, the artwork looked really good. And I love that, Kubo. Please keep up the good work, because this was a good chapter. Really good. Best chapter you've done in months. So anyways, tell me your thoughts on this chapter, and one more thing I want to bring up, though, is that Kubo finally changed the title of this chapter, The Old and New Trust. We don't finally have the Headless Star as a chapter title for Bleach anymore. Finally, we're on to a new chapter title, but most likely The Old and New Trust will get up to like 8 or 9 different chapters. But either way, everybody, tell me your favorite moment of this chapter. What do you think about this chapter? What was your favorite moment? What do you feel about all these different characters coming back once again? I love all of you so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Chibi out.